Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Zenler Show. Today I have with me a very special guest, Brigitte. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Thank God. Because someone's name is really, really important, and I always make sure that I should get it right the number of times I have to say it. So, it makes this podcast extra special is because she has been an active Zenler user. You would find her in almost all the Zen Zone sessions if you are a Zen Zoner, and she has attended so many lives and workshops with us. The education team has been in terms where they have seen her on several occasions, and that makes it a special podcast. Thank you for taking out the time and doing this. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Manman, thank you so much for having me. Yes, and I love Zenler. It makes my life so much easier because I'm not the programming kind of person. So it's really helping me to come up with courses and programs and with all the the funnels in a very easy peasy and smooth way. So it takes a lot of weight off my shoulders. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
By the way, the feedback is always in real time. If I need support and I'm troubled, like even during the weekend, it's just amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A little about her. She's a brand identity strategist. She also runs a podcast, Brand Stock, where she features amazing people and their stories. And today I am going to try and learn as much as I can from her so that the amazing Zenler community can also understand how can they shape up their brand identity. Let's get started, shall we?
Yes, shall we? And by the way, you were one of my guests on my Brand Stock podcast, so it's worth listening into.
Thank you so much. So my first question is going to be a very common question, that what is the difference between a personal brand and a business brand? Because I see the two are confused very often.
Absolutely. So this is a brilliant question to ask. Because there is a difference, and there is in this difference there is an interconnectedness. So these are two different, let's say, terms that have attached a lot of meaning to it. So there is one brand. So the interconnectedness really lies in the essence of one brand deeply influencing the other, especially at the beginning as an entrepreneur. Building a personal brand identity takes precedence for entrepreneurs. So building a personal brand at the beginning comes first. Yeah? It serves as the foundation that shapes the identity of your business brand or your company brand, however you want to call it. So the personal brand acts as a guiding force. It influences every decision and communication associated with the business brand. This intentional alignment then ensures that the values, your essence, the ethos and passion of the individual entrepreneur as you as an individual are authentically reflected in the business brand's identity. So the narrative of the company brand often extends from the entrepreneur's personal journey, your experiences, your aspirations. And that is not embodying just the professional endeavors, but the essence of you as an individual. This is really important because it adds that specific flavor, that specific character to your business brand. So the business brand, conversely, enriches the personal brand. As you as an entrepreneur navigate through challenges, you're celebrating successes, and you are also learning valuable lessons. Yeah? It's a symbiotic relationship of the two, where the growth of one inherently contributes to the growth of the other. So the consistent messaging between the both and the values that thread through both of the brands create hopefully a harmonious blend. Yeah, it fosters a connection with the audience that really goes beyond just this transactional. It goes beyond just being one more in the market where you just purchase, because you are kind of adding this human flavor into the human aspect, and that becomes more and more and more important going forward. So the personal brand provides the compass and the North Star, right? It guides the business brand, and the experience and achievements of the business brand become then an integral part, let's say, a chapter in the ongoing story of the personal brand. So the connection between the two is a dynamic interplay after you have established your personal brand that ties into your company brand. There's an interplay, and it's evolving organically over time. As you grow as a person, as you develop as a person, your company goes with that, and vice versa. You take on more, let's say, more confidence as a business person as well, running your business. So that's a beautiful thing. So you have to remember that personal branding, the personal brand identity, comes first for entrepreneurs. It really lays the groundwork for authenticity that shines through your through your company brand. Yeah, so I hope that explains it a little bit. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, totally. I think that was a very clear and a detailed explanation about the two brands coming together. And, I absolutely loved when you talked about how entrepreneurs need to have personal branding. And while you were telling about that, you also mentioned two very specific points. Is one, that how to stand out from the market. There are so many people in the market competing for the same thing. And all of them also have one goal in mind, which is be transactional, get the money from the other person. So how do you make sure that you stand out and yet your core is just not, on the money, that I need the money? And that is where personal branding comes in. And I think that explanation was very clear in its nature.
Yeah. I think this is the point what you're mentioning and what I talked about before. It's really not about making money in the first place.
Yeah.
It's understanding why you're here on this earth, in this world, and what your contribution is. What is your big why? What is your purpose? What is your vision? And how do you get there in your mission with the underlying fundamental values that you live by? That's the key, because that makes you distinctive. That makes you stick out at the end of the day, everything else being equal. So this is why there is this is also called in marketing terms, the brand equity has to be strong. And when it comes to transactions, that's your unique blend is the premium that a customer is willing to pay on top of everything being equal. They want your service because you are behind the service. You are, with your unique experience and know-how, the way of how you interact, your brand style. So they feel that. So you want to make your customers feel something. And you have that under control to a certain extent, because you define who you are. You know how you want to present yourself to the world, so the world has a certain perception of you. And that's
absolutely
the difference.
Absolutely. And I think that also kind of slides into the next question that I had for you, was that do coaches, a lot of people listening to this podcast are coaches, consultants, and service providers. Are you trying to say that they should pursue personal branding as their core as coaches and consultants?
Everyone should have it as a core.
Yeah.
Because it's not just celebrities out there. Everyone is a personal brand, and everyone is not, we are not isolated or insulated. We just part of the world,
Right.
And we should be aware of who we are and how others perceive us, or how we want others perceive us. That's what we have under control. But that needs to have in place that we understand ourselves, who we are. And a lot of
Absolutely.
people are not going through this deep work. So especially as a coach, you need to first understand who I am. Yeah. What is it that makes me me? And that
Absolutely.
you have to do the work first before you tie that into a brand, as a company brand. So everyone is a brand.
Right.
We are all brands, and there's something to do to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that approach.
But for a lot of people, first of all, they don't have this awareness, and then it's work. It's hard work to work on yourself. It gave me a headache at the beginning just to reflect on myself. That's not an easy task to do, and so for a coach, yeah, to really build your brand as a coach requires this meticulous orchestration of different elements that collectively craft this distinctive identity of you as a person, ultimately then as a brand, because you want to do that with intention. You are aware of who you are, and you intentionally creating an identity. And I think also at the forefront is the cultivation of credibility, because when you're a coach, people come to you because of a service, right? And
Yeah.
you have credibility, really strong credibility. And the credibility consists of 3 dimensions. It's the trustworthiness that you build based on your expertise that you have. So you have to be really fit on what you're doing as a coach, right? So
Right.
you need to know your field of expertise. You should have a certain track record, and also that depends then on the positioning where you are in the market. So there's a lot of consequences going with that, but also the likability. Yeah, just don't forget that you are the coach, you are the supporter, you are the guide, and most importantly, your client is the hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of that, yeah. So the
Absolutely.
client here. This credibility, so that is really this function of expertise, trustworthiness, and likability. And in order to live that, really, you need authenticity. You need to be authentic.
Yeah.
Authenticity is the linchpin of brand building. It's one of the fundamentals. And you can only be authentic when you know who you are, who you truly
Right.
are, and present yourself also in a way, not because others want that or because, it looks
Yeah.
better to be like this. No, truly are means where you are also vulnerable, showing where you're coming from, because very often you as a coach, you are a little bit further ahead on the journey than others because you have lived through that. What you're doing
Right.
is shorten that journey. You're taking out some elements that makes it very hard for them to go through, because you have gone through it, you know about it, and you help them to just avoid that and be faster on that journey.
Right. Right.
You cannot make all the mistakes in this life. I don't know how many years we have to get. How many years we have to
Right.
go through all of that. There's no sense in doing this, right?
Absolutely.
And so
there are so many times, there are so many times I say this. I think I've said it repeatedly in a lot of videos, like coaches and mentors are actually cheat codes. Why not just follow their paths? They've done it. They've done those mistakes. You do your set of mistakes. But let's just learn from there and, move past. Take that leverage.
Exactly. You also have this not only being authentic, right? You also have this customer-centric approach that is
Right.
yeah, focus on their needs, on their aspirations, their pain points. You have to have this empathy, compassion to a certain extent with them. You need to approach them where they are on their journey and using their language, feeling into them. So that, it's the trick is also because they have it all in them. You just
Right.
help them to elicit that, to bring their, and I call it the brilliance and the beauty they have out of them.
Right.
Because they are the heroes. They have to be proud of themselves, what they have achieved in the work or through the work with you. And also showing them
Absolutely.
how far they have come so far in their life, in their journey, because we always compare ourselves with others, but not with
Yeah.
us, of how far we have come already. And every life stage, every lifespan, or every situation, every walk of life in your life contributes to who you are and where you are at now. And that needs to be looked at. Give yourself some grace and be thankful for what you have gone through. It's all
Absolutely.
part of what you are contributing to others and helping with others. Yeah?
Right. Right.
So and that is very, you have to have this consumer-centric approach. And when we talk about our journeys, storytelling is such a beautiful thing to use, because then people can resonate with you. They see themselves in your stories. It's not making yourself strong and, we are the best or something like that. No, it's really about showing them how we went through, or how our clients went,
Yeah.
or what happened to me. It should act as kind of a metaphor for their life, for their situation. And showing them, hey, listen, I totally get you. I feel you. I know where you are. So stories
Absolutely.
are really, really, really important in brand communication. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think
So that is basically when it comes to being a good coach, but there are more things to that, of course.
yeah, absolutely. I think having a customer centric approach, keeping them always in the forefront, understanding that what they are looking forward to, what is that they want, because ultimately you're servicing and offering to your clients, to your students as a coach. So keeping them in the forefront is the most important thing. But I also feel, meanwhile, you're doing all of this, you're keeping your customers at the forefront, you're producing material, you're producing content, using storytelling, as you rightly mentioned, doing all the activities that is needed to be done to service your customer. A lot of times, as you mentioned while you were talking about, it takes a lot of time. And sometimes people give up because of the time it is taking. So one of the questions that always comes to mind is that, does building a brand identity or building a branding for oneself yield results in terms of leads and inquiries? Does it do that? Because that's one thing that all the business owners and entrepreneurs are looking for. So does building in brand identity yield leads and inquiries for the business?
Yeah, this is a beautiful question as well. And I tell you, oh yes, it does yield leads and sales, because branding is, and being aware of your brand is the only way of how you break through the noise, break through the clutter, be seen. Yeah, creating brand awareness is more than people recognize you, but this is already the first step. People need to recall you. People really need to be able to tell a story about your brand. People need to think about certain things when they associate your brand with something, right? When they think of you, when they talk about you, when they feel about you. So you have to create a strong brand image in the market with lots of associations. You want to be top of mind. You want to be remembered in different usage situations as well. So that is the key. And yes, it leads to sales, because when you're top of mind, people come to you first. And when everything is being equal and you are a brand that has this human touch to it and a certain feeling that they love, of course they go for you. Yeah. So yeah, but when you have a strong brand, it also serves, first of all, as a trust builder, and secondly, there is a risk reducer integrated into the whole thing. Because when they know you, they know what they can expect from you, or other people talk about you. Yeah. So, so also when you have a company, employees would be influencers who communicate the brand. Because when we talk about sales, it's they are your first advocates, because they represent the company. And when it comes to personal branding, and think about these big companies, consumers expect personal branding from companies' heads. So there are 82% say that they trust the company more when its senior executives are active on social media.
Oh, that's a big one.
Personal branding humanizes a brand. Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
go
I
ahead.
have a really curious question here. We've been talking about how personal brands and business brands can yield results and help people grow their businesses. But a key question is actually also, in a very tiny snippet, how to achieve this personal branding, or how to achieve setting up a brand identity in order to for people to have their businesses, have people approach them and stay on the top of the mind.
Okay, so how to set up a personal brand identity. Okay.
Yeah.
I think before we talk about that, we need to see the holistic picture, or take on a holistic perspective on the whole entrepreneurial branding journey, because we talk about coaches here as well, right?
Yeah.
So there is one step before personal branding,
Okay.
or let's say the beginning, because branding in general starts with mindset. So you need to get the mindset straight and right. You need to get and cultivate an entrepreneurial and a business owner's mindset. So the first thing you do is, what is my vision? What do I want to achieve in life? What do I want to leave behind? And then how do I get there? So a mission, what is my purpose then? My big why. And that is based on your core values that you live and breathe. A lot of people are not aware of their core values, but this is what everything rests on, and your personal brand is built on. It's the foundation. So your values, how you achieve your vision, how you create actively this higher purpose that you are striving for. So that is the fundament. And personal brand identity building builds on these values. And that is, you're going through a self-discovery mission. It's kind of a situation analysis that you're doing at the moment. There are your strengths. What are your skills? What is your expertise? What is your personality? The unique qualities that you have. So you are assessing that at the moment. So there's different frameworks and tools, since I'm coming from academia, not only corporate, but I work with scientific tools that have been proven, period. This is important, but also my flavor of having this experience and worked as a corporate or with corporates and have been teaching for 23 years at universities, that all goes into that. But what I want to say here is that there are frameworks that you use for that as well. And so you work with your client based on that. You're not just doing something woo-woo, So in that sense, so I'm exaggerating at the moment. So you are setting up your personal brand persona, who you are, and then where you want to be, what you want to become, and the strategy of becoming. It's not only your doing this self-discovery, but also then asking others how they perceive you. There is so much information coming because we have blind spots. There's things that we do not see, but others can tell us. So that is the next step. Figuring out what is your brand archetype, what kind of persona. So there, Carl Jung came up with 12 different archetypes. So there is a test out that you can do. So that gives you also more information. What are the right brand words, the terms, the attributes that are using when you are describing yourself, when you're communicating in an email, through social media. So it becomes part of your identity. Yeah? So you might have seen that I'm using a lot of words such as brilliance. Yeah. So own your brilliance, or oh wow, this is beautiful. Yeah. And because these are one of my core values, and your core values are also taking on different meanings when you evolve. So beauty was a different meaning at the beginning of my life when I was a flight attendant. It was always this outer beauty and representing an airline, you know, and the brilliance of how the service was done for a passenger in business and in the economy class. But now for me, beauty is the inner beauty, yeah, of what you bring to the table and how you do that. That's the brilliance. Yeah? And this third value for me is passion. I'm doing it because I'm a passionate person. Yeah, I really do it because it comes from a place of love. Yeah, and also a strong personal brand also has a certain integrity. So following through with your word, especially as a coach. So this is part of it. And then your roles, your different roles. What is your role? What are the standards that you live by as a coach, but maybe also in other walks of life? You discover that as well. Is there a congruence or is there incongruency? How do you align that, you know? Because authenticity is living and breathing what you are in all walks of life. Yeah. And then your brand style, how you communicate, interact with others. This is important. What kind of consequences does that have? So this is deep work, and it's enriching life, and it frees you from certain, you know, questions. It makes you complete, and you understand yourself. And when you do that, others understand you as well. Because when you are living chaos and others make sense of you. So you bring in this certain clarity. Yeah. And you attach that and infuse that in your company brand. And based on that, who you are as a person, you build your company brand. But it's important to have this personal brand identity for yourself before, and also detached, because when I was an employee, in 2008, I was the head of a research department of a real estate company, and there was a financial crisis, right? And we went bankrupt from one day to the next. And I lost my identity because I identified myself with the company so strongly. So I realized I need to know who I am as a person in all walks of life. And that gives you confidence, that gives you clarity. You can make better decisions knowing that. And as an entrepreneur, yeah, you need to understand that. And then you go from there and create your company brand identity.
Absolutely. I think that's a lot of insights packed together. And you also mentioned that, you know, there's a lot of deep work. And of course, it takes heaps of work and a lot of analysis and a lot of work together. But I might say that I'm lazy, and people who are listening to this podcast might want to move fast, because as I mentioned, you know, look at people who have done it, use them as cheat codes and move faster. So do you think, or do you know, is there a cheat code to brand identity setting up? Is there a cheat code?
This is a very funny question, actually. And a cheat code. It's the first time I hear that. A cheat sheet, yes, the cheat code. Actually, in some ways, yes. Yeah? So crafting a successful and enduring brand is indeed a deliberate and strategic process. Yeah, deliberate, intentional process that involves, first of all, this deep understanding of yourselves. So I think there's no cheat code per se, but some guiding principles. And the first one is really being authentic. It lies at the heart of every compelling personal brand and company brand. And I just want to quote here Brené Brown, because she puts it in a way: authenticity is a daily practice of letting go of the societal expectations and embracing who you truly are. And then Michelle Obama is reinforcing that, and Oprah Winfrey as well. And it's all about an integrity, doing the right thing even when no one is watching.
Yeah.
So this is really the fundament. And I tell you again, branding starts with mindset. It's branding is a construct that really goes beyond, it transcends this mere aesthetics of a logo and a tagline and colors. It really comes from within, from your mindset. So that is most important. You cannot cheat around that. It's a cheat code. No, you have to come true. It's so important. And your personal brand is not just this representation of who you are, is really a dynamic reflection of your growth and evolution over time. So it's work. It's not just one, cheat code that I take, but there is something that acts like a cheat code, I would say. And it's a framework that I actually came up with.
That's what we want to know.
Based on, decades of research and 23 years of experience of teaching branding and as a corporate, and also my own entrepreneurial experience. I went through this all, through the whole roller coaster ride. So, and I came up with a 3-step branding blueprint. And that is based on these 3 pillars. The first step or pillar would be adopting the right mindset, then building your personal brand, and then building your company brand with all what it is. And each of these pillars is broken down again in all the different, vision, mission for mindset. And there's more than personal branding, what I've already described. And then also company branding, setting up your brand identity. Here, then you come in with logos, with the logo and with the tagline, the expression, how you make it visible on your websites. And then also you learn how important it is to have this consistency across different platforms and long-term, over time. So this is all part, and here in every little step and facet of each of these 3 pillars, I also work with frameworks. This all scientific proven, and I also give, of course, my personal blending to that. So that could act as a cheat code.
Oh, that's what I was looking for. Thank you so much for so many beautiful insights. I'm sure all the listeners who are listening to the podcast have learned a lot about what a personal brand is, what a company brand is, and how to blend two together for better business growth. But before we wrap up this podcast, I'll definitely like to ask you, if someone is interested after listening to this conversation, if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to learn about you, your work, or would want to just have a quick chat with you because they heard you on a Zenler podcast. So what is the best way to get in touch with you?
All right. So you can reach me on my website, brigittebrains.com. Very easy it is on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn person. I love LinkedIn. It just resonates with me, and I just love to post and educate and entertain and engage with people. So find me on LinkedIn, send me an invite, then we connect. we can have a Zoom coffee call and have a virtual meeting, getting to know each other. And then you can learn more about me there on that call. But you can also find me on Facebook, on Instagram. I regularly post, but I'm not so much online as I am on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we'll definitely mention your LinkedIn link in the description as well, so that people can reach out to you. Thank you so much for your time and sharing so many beautiful insights with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure being your guest. So we turned around the table.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.